Here, this is the plan of my presentation. The problem of the research, visualization of the construction project, 3 stages of visualization of the constructed objects, problems addressed by designers, bearing structures, composite structures, colors discrepancy, clients overestimated financial capacities, photogrammetry significance, sustainable environmental planning, clients opportunities, conclusion, and list of references. Visualization is one of the most important parts of building information modeling. The correct imposition of textures, creation of correct interior and exterior textures, given enough accurate virtual copy of the future object. Visualization of construction project helps the client to understand the architecture and design features of the building. Visualization process includes such concepts as rendering, photogrammetry, as well as the preparatory stage, in which the visualization engineer works directly with the model of the object. Rendering is the technical process of changing a 3D model into a high-quality image. Processing is conducted with the help of computerized programs and special equipment. In the course of the work, complex calculations occur. Therefore, powerful professional equipment is needed for rendering. To create a high-quality render, the engineer needs to logically work out all textures of the building. This stage often has a lot of mistakes. The first problem: the engineer might not take into account the logs profile and the basic walls material of a construction object. Namely, the engineer shouldn't use the textures of southern trees for construction projects in northern areas, for example, mahogany. The base material usually used for bearing structures is pine. The logs profile should also be taken into account. Considering the logs textures, we need to display the correct fibers location. Settling logs have the fibers which are located along the direction of the wall. Non-settling logs have some fibers located across the direction of the wall. The difference between settling and non-settling logs is quite large, since the size of the window and door openings, the presence of jacks in the house, and some other structural features depend on shrinkage. The second problem is discrepancy between standardized packet of the construction materials and employed construction materials. Speaking again about the textures of the object, we need to consider the building roof composite. After all, visualization engineer often imposes the wrong texture on the roof composite. Sometimes engineers don't understand that changing a membrane to a seam or tile requires additional buttons layers in the roof composite, the addition of waterproof layer, as a result of which the height of the building itself increases. The third problem is discrepancy between engineered visualization solution and standard requirements. Also, an engineer shouldn't forget about the color of the visualized roof surface. When it comes to Finland, the roof and walls color tones of the future object are regulated by standard requirements dependent on the construction area. The fourth problem is discrepancy between construction project visualization and financial capacities. The materials composition is of supporting structures is often changed in the process of creation of the object architecture. After all, clients come to the project company and voice their wishes, for which there are not enough financial resources allocated for project creation. Therefore, materials and often purposefully adjusted. For example, laminated blocks are changed for concrete blocks. The visualization engineer must navigate all the changes in the object because they correctly applied textures, blocks, or concrete on supporting structures provide a client with clear understanding of the final surfaces of the customized future object. In the modern world, customers have more and more questions about their future homes. For example, some customers don't know how to best place windows in their houses. Some don't want to look at the windows of their neighbors. Some want to have more of a forest view than of buildings. Some want to have a view of the mountain. In order to help the client and the designer, it is necessary to show the exterior of the future house, the surroundings of the house or a construction site at the present moment. To do this, designers use the following photogrammetry concept. Photogrammetry helps to create the current exterior of the territory of future renders in special programs. The nearby located territories are photographed and obtained photo images are transformed into a point cloud 3D model. Thus, the designer, and most importantly, the customer, can see the landscape view out of his future windows. The fifth problem is a discrepancy between construction project visualization and green space planning. Comparing the object with the point cloud also helps to find some mistakes at the stage of architectural design. In Finland, much attention is paid to the preservation of green spaces. When applying for a building permit, a green space planning must be submitted. Trees located on the construction site have to be preserved or substituted by a new plantation of trees, such as oak, maple, elm, or pine. Also, upon comparing the model with the point cloud, the client is given a file for an overview, and most importantly, possible measurement separation conducted by the client. First of all, it is important to consider the building surrounding landscape. The client can measure the distances to the trees, their height, the width of the sidewalks, and the area of the territory needed for landscaping in the future. As for the designer and his company that executes the project, renders, point clouds, and textures employment are very important part in building up the company's customer base. After all, many companies build drawings, but few people own visualization, namely rendering. To build a render, you needn't only good technology, but also knowledge of materials and various software. Rendering is an important part of the design as it helps the customer to understand what construction materials the house is made of, to see the natural terrain surrounding the house, to reduce the project execution time for the designer, to develop rendering technology, to enlarge the number of customers and to create customized, safe, comfortable, and desirable environment. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ekaterina. May I ask with the question? So